Hey guys, welcome to Ambient Guitar Tip number 6, and today I want to talk about a technique or kind of a combination of techniques that results in this cool kind of string-like violin-ish, cello-ish sound, and I'll just show you what we're going for now and you can see if that's actually what it sounds like or not. It sounds like this. So that's the basic sound there. I kind of used it there as like a melody. So I used the slide, and I used a couple different pedals, and I used a volume pedal, and all this combination of things kind of results in that flowy kind of string-ish sounds. Hopefully you can see where I'm getting that description. So before we really jump in, I'll tell you I'm playing my Telecaster Deluxe into a matchless Clubman that is in a room behind me. Okay, so first of all, before I go into the pedals, before I go into any of this stuff, I'll show you what my clean signal sounds like. So it sounds like this. Okay. So if you remember in that sound, there's three real pieces to this. There's using the slide, okay, and what the slide does for us is it allows us to move between notes on the guitar without going directly to the notes. You can get all the in-between overtones, right? So, slide is a whole technique world unto itself, but, really, you can do those slides kind of like that. You can do the vibrato. You can move between notes without picking them. You can just kind of slide between them. So that's part of this sound. That helps us, a string instrument doesn't have frets, a cello or violin, and they can get that nice vibrato and they can sort of slide up and down. And so this lets us get part of the way there, right? The other part of this technique is the volume pedal. So when I was just playing before, that sounds cool, but obviously a string instrument doesn't quite have that attack that we do with our pick. So that's where the volume pedal comes in. That's part 2 of this equation. So when I play like this, typically I will combine every pick attack with a volume swell. So that sounds like this. So what you get is a combination of no pick attack, you're swelling into all the notes, and then some of the notes, when you don't have to pick again, you just slide into them, or you let them fall down or up or whatever. Hopefully you can see what's going on there. So that's part 2, is the volume pedal removing the attack, and part 3 is the effects. Okay, so there's 3 different pedals. Well, 4. I've got my compressor on because my compressor is just on all the time, and it helps. Compressors help with slide playing in general to even out the sound and stuff. But other than that, I do put a little bit of overdrive on because I feel like it helps it get more of a gritty string sound. With a string player, they're pulling a bow across a string, and it results in kind of not a harsh sound, but there's some distortion-ish sound there, right? So that kind of gives us this. Oops. And you can go more. I'm using Walrus Audio Mayflower for this. Okay, so that's closer, right? Now the last thing we want to fix is when I pull the volume pedal back down to catch another pick attack. There's like a dropout where I have to bring my volume pedal down so that I can reduce the next pick attack. So we want to get rid of that and make that smoother by using a little bit of reverb and delay. So I've got some subtle reverb from the Flint that sounds like this. Okay, now I'll add that with a little delay from the El Capistan. So both are on pretty subtly. I'll show you. I'll turn off the overdrive. So this is as much reverb as I have right here. Okay, that's not a whole lot. And this is just the delay. Not a whole lot either. And yeah, like I said, the whole idea there is to kind of fill in the gap right before you do another volume swell, so you get a mostly consistent sound. And you can play around with this. Obviously, things can get very, very muddy and messy very quickly if you have too much delay. I'll try to show you what that sounds like. You'll just have too many notes colliding, especially depending on how you're playing. If you're not playing a lot of notes, that may not happen. So for the way I was playing that many notes, obviously they got very muddy quickly. So you don't need a lot of delay and reverb to sort of fill up those gaps, but you do need some. So that's good right there, I think. So yeah, you get the idea there, and you can play around with different, maybe you like the reverb to fill the gap more than the delay, or the delay versus the reverb or whatever, and you can do that, and you can make it less airy, not use reverb, just delay if you want. You know, you can kind of customize it to however you want. So that's the basics on the effects and the techniques in general. I want to go into a little more depth, specifically on the slide combined with the volume pedal thing. So one of the things I like to do, especially on a note where I pick it, I will like do a big slide into that note. And so what happens is I'll slide up a large length of the fretboard, but I'll be swelling in the volume pedal at the same time, and that kind of results in a sound like this. I won't do that every time, and you know, as I'm swelling up the volume pedal, I may not catch a whole lot of that slide, but it kind of gives it like a flowing feel. You know, the whole point of the slide and the volume pedal is to get away from the constraints of like frets and use the fact that we can move in between these notes like this. So you can see on some of those notes, you're not hearing a whole lot of the slide that I'm doing, but you're getting a sense of like movement, and that the notes aren't just, you know, that kind of thing. You're and then you can combine that. A lot of what I like to do with this technique is a pick and a swell, and then dragging it up or down to one or two more notes. So what I mean by that is I'll slide into a note like this, and then I'll let it go down. So there I did a slide, a pick and a slide, and then one more note after that. And depending on how you play, depending on what you want this to sound like, depending on a million things, you can do a bunch more notes like that. So you can get in a bunch of notes without having to pick again, and that kind of contributes more to that string-like sound too. So that's pretty much it. What if you really want to try to do this, really focus on locking your left hand with the slide in with your foot on the volume pedal, because like I said, every single pick, right hand pick, is associated with a volume swell in this situation. So hopefully you've been able to see the way that works on this video. I have a cool camera angle where you can't actually see me, but hopefully you can see what's important there, right? So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, one other thing I should say, and like I said, there is a whole lot to slide technique in general, but it's kind of cool because I feel like different players can be much more unique with a slide, because everyone sort of has a different vibrato style, and you know, you can do sort of fast vibrato like that. And that takes a while to kind of get the hand control to do that sort of vibrato. Or, you know, there's a lot slower, or, you know, bigger vibrato. Or just, you know, you can just plain not do any vibrato at all and just... Man, I'm so used to doing vibrato, I can't not do it. But I do feel like the vibrato is important. Not that we're trying to like totally dead on get a violin or a cello sound or whatever, but just trying to do something different with the guitar. I do feel like the vibrato is a pretty cool piece of that. It allows you to be a little more expressive. So those are some things to think about. Think about the vibrato, think about sliding into the note like that. Make sure you're locking in your volume pedal with your pick. And then make sure you're using your delay and your reverb or one or the other subtly enough that it's filling in those gaps, right? And yeah, the last thing is using a little bit of overdrive just to get it to be a little crunchier, a little beefier sounding. So that's pretty much it for that. I hope you guys enjoyed that little technique tip, and I will see you on the next ambient guitar video. Talk to you soon.